4 years ago this week, I told the story of almost being arrested and literally being driven to the police station in Montreal, Quebec, by a taxi driver who thought I was probably trying to defraud him. I was in Montreal. Somehow I thought I brought just my Canadian money. I have a little spot where I keep foreign currency that I have left over from a trip, or sometimes, you know how sometimes somebody will give you a coin from a country they went to and they maybe don't plan on going back. And I just always had the stuff sitting in one spot. Now, I've never been to Australia, but somehow I had an Australian $10 bill in with my Canadian currency. And I was in a cab in Montreal and I tried to pay with a $10 Australian bill. And I was convinced that this was currency, and I thought that the cab driver was messing with me. And he obviously thought I was trying to defraud him when I insisted on trying to pay the Canadian cab fare with a $10 Australian bill. Very unhappy, threatened to drive me directly to the police station if I wouldn't pay properly. And then I said, wait, maybe this is weird because this bill seems to be a different size than these other Canadian bills. And I looked more closely, and indeed I was trying to pay. They weren't counterfeit notes, but they were notes of no transactional value in Canada, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Big mistake, Dave. Big mistake. Yeah.
And I assumed he thought I was the dumb American who didn't even know the difference between Canadian currency and Australian currency. And in a sense, I was, except I'm from Argentina. I mean, the guy's assessment was spot on, except I wasn't the dumb American showing up. I was
just a dumb tourist in general.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is nothing compared to when we talk about the currency issues I've had over the last 4 years, up until the recent presidential election in Argentina, it was a mess to exchange currency in Argentina. There were multiple exchange rates, the official exchange rate and what was called the blue exchange rate, which was a drastically different exchange rate. If you didn't exchange money when you got there at the official exchange rate, then you weren't able to exchange it back if you had leftover money when you left. I ended up exchanging bills with random people in the Argentina, in the airport on the way out. I mean, it was totally crazy. This little incident in Montreal pales in comparison to the trials and tribulations I had in Argentina during the reign of Christina Kirchner.
Only because it did not end with your arrest, right? Yeah.
Right. Had I been arrested in Montreal for attempting to pay, for insisting on paying with foreign currency, I'd say I would characterize that as worse than the problems I've had in Argentina over the last 8 years.
But it was a great trip. You had a good time, and everything was fine.
No doubt about it. Hell of a trip.